Welcome to the Black American channel of the free and the brave. Today we're talking about dating, particularly in the Black community, but it can expand to different races. I'm going to be reacting to a video from a channel called We Need to Talk. Now, I've been following this young brother for a few years now. I really liked it when I first started watching it, when he had all white background, black leather chair, and then he would talk to a Black woman. He was off camera and just do an interview about dating and relationship dynamics. Since then, he got away from that particular format. I don't know why. I thought that was very productive, and it's been kind of hard to follow since then as far as consistency, but he came out with a gem, something I want to react to. And since I'm reacting to things now on my YouTube channel, here you go. So, and like I said, dating is dating. Dynamics are dynamic. Family is family. With that being said, we all are human beings and we all have our particular struggles. But at the end of the day, we all need to be moving forward to create stronger families, and we need to communicate to do so. Before we get into this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 9,000 subscribers. And make sure you leave your comments down in the comment section so we can have a conversation. Let's get into it.
Men generally need to feel needed. Like the suicide rate right now is high with white men because of technology and because of like postmodern industrialization, where they're losing factory jobs and things like that. And that's leading them to suicidality. They don't feel useful. Now imagine Black men who are still men, first and foremost, we're still men. So that fear of being unuseful is there. But then you compound that with the fact that we haven't gotten any opportunity to be men for 400 years. And we're reminded of it every single day by the person who claims that they love us the most.
And that is...
Whoa. So let's talk about that. Men need to feel needed. Damn right we do. We need to feel needed in our home, by our loved one, our wife, our kids. We need to feel needed at work. And ultimately, getting the income from work builds need, because we bring that income home and then we pay the bills, the rent, the car note, the insurance, the electricity bill, groceries, things of that nature. Now, particularly me, I'm the patriarch of my family. My wife doesn't work. So even last night, she sent me a loving text message saying, so grateful that you provide for me and our newborn baby. Blessed to be in this situation. And, you know, that makes me feel needed. It makes me want to work harder. It makes me want to go out and slay a dragon for her and my baby. Keep this roof over their heads. I love it when she goes to the grocery store, or, you know, DoorDashes or whatever you do to get food to come to your front door. Crazy technology, right? But I love being able to provide that. And I only want to work harder, and talk to more men, teach them ways that they can build this life for their wife and their kids, because it's possible. It can be done on one income. You got to learn, budget, sacrifice. That's all it is to it. And we got to feel needed. He also touched on, we haven't had the opportunity, this for my black men, to be men in 400 years. I don't agree with that, because yes, we went through slavery. We were definitely emasculated, sorry. And that happened for several hundred years, right? But we did have a certain amount of hierarchy within our quarters. I don't want to get on slavery because that's a very touchy topic about different dynamics in being a husband and a wife while you're a slave, because you got an owner and things of that nature. And of course, there was buck breaking and all kinds of stuff going on. But if you move on past slavery, then we had the highest marriage rate, 85, 90%, highest in the actual country, above any other race. Any other race. You can't tell me we weren't the patriarch of the family in those times. I believe that the entire breakdown of the family beginning in the 60s and the 70s is when the matriarchal dynamic took over, and we're still in that. Men, we need to come back up, bubble up to the top, put our foots down, drop our balls, and make sure that they know we run this household. I am a complete believer in the man is the lead. 100%. That's what this channel is going to preach. If the man falls, everything else falls beside him. Yes, women have an extremely important role and responsibilities. They're just as valuable as men. I'm not going to say anyone has higher value. We just have different dynamics within the relationship. Let's continue.
That's why I say that's the most important work for women to do on behalf of not only our men, but for all of us, because either you believe that Black relationships and Black families and Black people need to work out for all of us and all of this to work out, or you don't. And some people don't. They aren't, Garvey minded in that way. But I do believe that. I believe that we're inextricably linked. And I think I've said this to you before, like, as far as I'm concerned, this simply having a conversation where we listen to each other for the sake of listening to each other is the work of our generation.
No, we don't just need to have conversations for the sake of having conversations. What is this? No, we need to have a conversation, and then we need to build from that. We got to have some type of action. There's no solutions without actions. Just having conversations isn't going to cut it. We have to put these things into action. And also it takes some observation, because things don't always have to be spoken to. And this is especially towards the men, because women, they like to talk. They're going to cackle. All right. They're going to talk, not cackle. But men, we observe things, and then we see things that need to be fixed, and we just do it quietly. For example, I see my wife struggling with something. And so I may take a different approach to how I move. If she needs, I can't think of a particular situation right now, but there's so many things that my wife never has expressed to me that I've just adjusted on how I move, how I spend money, or whatever the case may be. And then I noticed that it has made her life better in a particular way. A lot of things she'll never know that I do, because it doesn't have to be said. You can just look and see what needs to be fixed, and then you go fix it. With her, we got to sit down. We got to have a conversation. You got to tell me about her feelings, all this and that. I'm like, okay, babe, what do you need? Okay. Let me know. This conversation has been great. You could have made it, instead of 30 minutes, you could have made it like a minute and a half. Because that's what men need and what we get from conversations. But women, let them talk it out. Let them bloviate on all kinds of words and explain things to death. We don't need all that. So with that being said, men, yes, we listen, but then we take action. A lot of the times women, they want to talk just to be heard. My wife, sometimes she says, even before the conversation, babe, I just need to talk. I don't need you to tell me a solution. You know how hard those conversations are for me, because I want to solve the problem. Men, go solve the problems. Let's get back to it.
I believe that.
Ask me questions. What are the key misunderstandings, the pressing questions that your delegation has of us?
Delegation.
For women, something that we need a lot is to express ourselves, and this idea that, we're seen and heard, and our thoughts are valued. Like, our thoughts are valued, not just our, fecundity or our ability to reproduce for you or cook your food, And I think that that's something that's alive on both ends, how we kind of look at each other as commodities sometimes and forget that, that's a person with varying degrees of needs. A need to express themselves or a need to feel validated in a certain way. And so with me.
So we are commodities. You should never get into a relationship without recognizing what that other person is going to bring into the relationship to make your life easier. If you're going into a relationship strictly for love, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Like, my wife brings so much to the table. She loves family. She wants to have a family. She wants to take care of the home. I don't have to worry about certain things like Food. I don't worry about food no more. It's crazy. And like that takes away a certain amount of time whenever I have to cook. I have to do certain things. When I was single, she takes care of that. Also, she doesn't have to work. She doesn't have to go about out into the world and stress about having a boss, being in work on time, getting out in traffic, things of that nature. I do that. I go out and put my mental at work, my body at work. I deal with that. I'm her protection. Wherever we go, at home, I set up all the security. I do all that. I monitor it. Make sure the car is well maintained. She doesn't know when it needs an oil change, when I went and got a new tire, when I went and got the thermostat replaced. She doesn't know any of that. Just got calipers done in the rear. She doesn't know I take care of all that. She's so happy that she doesn't have to think about things anymore. Rent's paid, lights always on, cell phone always on, nothing to worry about. And she's expressed that to me. And I always express that to her as well. Just like the young lady just said, women, they need to hear it. They need to hear how they are appreciated, just like men, because they're talking past each other at this moment. They're saying the same thing. So make sure you take care of business, but then also make sure you express how much you appreciate your partner, men and women. And this is not even just a Black dynamic. This is just a dating dynamic in general. We don't tell each other how much we appreciate them. Give them the proverbial flowers. Also, men, just go buy those flowers. Speaking of, it's Sunday. I need to go buy my wife some flowers, surprise her. Glad I'm reacting to this video today. Let's go.
Men, that's especially difficult to receive from you guys sometimes, because y'all are going out there into the fucked up world that, and then by the time y'all come back to us, y'all have nothing left. But I still need you. I still need to, share thoughts and ideas and hear your feedback. So I think a lot about this idea of like a man's capacity. It's the end of his workday. What capacity does he actually have to, hear you talk about how your day was or whatever it may be? And for me, that's a tough area to navigate, because it almost feels like there's nothing you can do about it, because life is hard and we're wired different in the first place. So I have examples of men in my life who I feel do an ideal job at that, but they are so far and few between. I'd say you're one of them. So, follow for more if y'all, want to get on this guy's level. It's.
So real quick, she's trying to say that she understands maybe how hard it is for men to verbally express things or just to listen when they get home because they're so drained from work. I gotta say, men, you gotta find time for family. Your wife is your most important investment for life, period. So you have to continue to invest in her with your time and your receptiveness to what she wants to say, how she wants to express herself, things of that nature. So yeah, if you work a 12-hour shift, give her some time when you get home. My wife, she sometimes, if I need to decompress, she lets me do it. I come home, I may sit down for 30 minutes, take a quick nap. But however it works in your family, your dynamic, it's you. If you want to do it as soon as you get home, I saw a comedic short where when the guy got home from work, taking his boots off, he was like, oh, yeah. She was like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. He's walking up the stairs. She's like, yeah, and this and this and that and this and this and that. And, give that man some time to decompress. But then, sir, once you decompress, make sure you come together and then you receive what she has to say, because that time means a lot to her. Just like she does so many things, you got to remember, especially if she's at home waiting for you. She's been waiting for you because you're her person. She loved the shit out you. Remember that. So give her time.
Even still, it's a lot to ask. So it's hard for me to ask a question because I feel like I already know it's an unrealistic expectation. But I'm just wondering, what are y'all's thoughts on how we can manage the differences in how men and women communicate, and particularly how that can sometimes leave us feeling like our cup isn't being filled, so to speak.
That is an interesting something. In a way, I feel like I've been burdened to articulate the complexity of Black malehood. And I'm not saying I'm the most qualified or I'm the best at it, but there are a lot of things that we think and that we need that we don't know how to say to you guys. And one often kind of minimized reason for that is, like right now, you're seeing a lot of people ask Black men to communicate more. Even there's a page called Express Yourself, Black Man. What we often don't discuss is the fact that there is a toll for that expression, right? If I tell you that I have an issue with something or something that's bothering me that doesn't even have to do with you, the reality of most women's reflex is to make it about her, right? So let's say, for instance, I'm in a relationship with a woman. I'm just not happy as a man, not in the relationship, but as a man, I'm not happy. How do I navigate that landmine field of saying it to her in a way that she's going to feel like close to me, but she's not going to feel like I am trying to blame her for it or minimize the importance that she has in my life?
So he talked about the complexity of Black malehood or manhood. I don't subscribe to that, really. I don't think we have this huge complexity that's higher than any other race of people. Like I said earlier in the intro, we all have our issues. We all have our different opportunities for improvement, and different obstacles and hurdles, just being of a different race, I guess. But when it all comes down to it, when the smoke clears, we're all just human beings. We all have to figure out the best way to communicate, the best way to go about strengthening the family dynamic, right? And a lot of the times I feel like as men, we need to be able to fortify ourselves more than we do, more than what we have become. I just don't think that men are as manly or masculine as we need to be. I don't think we are the leaders that we need to be anymore. And we don't have that ambition anymore. I see a lot of times where men are speaking about different opportunities that are going away or just aren't available anymore. When we live in the cushiest, most luxurious, wealthiest country in the world. So if you can't figure it out, man, that's on you. Because if you broke, then that's your fault. Man, if your relationship doesn't work, it's mostly your fault. Let me explain this. Because you need to have the logic to be able to choose the right woman for you. So once you get into a relationship, and even if it's the woman's fault, you chose that woman. You have to look past certain attractions. It's mainly physical, because we are physical beings. You have to look at certain attributes, what kind of debt she's bringing to the table, what kind of terrible behaviors as far as being irresponsible with time, money, different purchases, whether or not she buys a bunch of wine, alcohol, vodka, if she's spending money a lot at bars, just having certain terrible behavior, depravity, what kind of relationship she has with her parents, her family in general, what type of jobs she's had in the past, different things she had maybe participated in that may be unsavory. You got to look at all these types of things, because once you get into the relationship, then it's just up for grabs, because whoever does wrong. And you're going to say it's her fault whenever she's just being herself. And you couldn't look past the cleavage. You got to take this into consideration. Yes, of course, women need to choose better as well. Women need to get out of their feelings more, but men are the more logical ones. And we need to be able to look past all the BS and all the chesticles, her curves, How she treats us in the bedroom. And then you got to really, really think, is this woman going to be the woman that I can live with for the rest of my life? And do I want that woman to raise my children? Can I take her to my family events, Christmas parties at work? Just can I take her in public in general? Got to think about it, man.
Fortunate reality is most women are now going to turn that into her problem, and not her problem to solve, but now I have to deal with figuring out how to feel fulfilled and figuring out how to cheer her up from being upset that I don't feel fulfilled. So instead of doing that, most men are going to say, no, I'm going to just keep it to myself. Maybe one day I'll figure out the best way to articulate it, to express to her that it's not her fault. It's just something that I have to work through. Or maybe it'll just go away. And then let it not be something that it is actually something that she's doing wrong, right? And in this world that tells women that they are beautiful at any size and they're never wrong, it's just other people don't have the capacity to tell it to them or deal with them or embrace everything that they are. They're not too much. It's just they couldn't handle me, right? And then as a man coming from those backgrounds, like I mentioned earlier, where the women in my life were beyond reproach, I don't have the vocabulary or the bandwidth to articulate it to this woman. So what happens is I'm probably going to shut down. I'm probably going to check out. So I think what women can do is start giving men the space and opportunity to be human. A lot of y'all don't think we are. And I think y'all want to think we are, but you deeply do not. Because oftentimes what you're asking us to be and what you're rewarding us for being, two different things.
So he spoke about how men keep things to themselves and just don't bring it up. That's facts. That's facts. One day my wife asked me, because my job is, my 9 to 5 is a complete shit show every day, right? After a few months went by, she asked me like, hey, is everything going way better at work or something? You don't talk about work anymore. And I was just like, no, it's still crazy every single day. But it's something that's going to be a perpetual thing. I can't fix it, and she definitely can't fix it. So why waste time talking about something that can't be fixed? You know, we keep things to ourselves unless there's a solution that can be applied to the situation. And, you know, I'm vocal about a lot of things with my wife because, you know, she's my person. I see her every day. I love talking to her. But, you know, some things I just handle internally. And as men, we need to learn how to fortify our mind and our feelings to a certain point to where we are able to self-heal. And I've completely gotten to that particular point in my life where no matter the situation, whatever's going on, negative, I've gotten to the point to where I know what I need to do. And I know how I need to handle myself in order to pull myself out of this situation, because I've gotten to a certain point where I realize that sometimes bad things are going to happen. And once they do, you need to be able to put yourself in a position to recognize how you are as a person, because nobody knows you better than you. You can tell people how you're going to be, how you're going to react, but you know you. And once I realized that I couldn't lie to myself anymore about how I am and how I react in certain situations, once I figured that out, I stopped putting myself in certain situations. Because I was like, okay, it's going to take me this amount of time to do this. I'm going to feel like this. If this happens, why would I put myself in a situation when there's a 90% chance that that is going to happen? So avoid it altogether. So learn you. And so that way you'll be able to be that rock, that foundation that you need to be for her and for the children, create a stronger family. And once you do that, the family actually stays together, and that will eliminate, I won't say eliminate, but that will highly decrease the divorce rate, which is way too high, way too high. With that being said, guys, let me know how you feel about this. we're talking about Black people in this particular situation because it's just Black people from the channel. We need to talk. I'm gonna leave the link for the original video down in the description. But all races, we need to do better. We need to communicate and we need to be receptive of what our partner, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, our wife, our husband, what they're actually saying. And like she said, we're not just going to listen to listen. We're going to listen to create a solution and then put it into action to rectify the situation. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments down in the comment section so we can have a conversation. This is the Black American channel of the free and the brave.